Hello, and welcome to my video about attribution. My first time in college, I was a bad student. I got a lot of C's and D's. I even lost a scholarship because of my poor grades. I dropped out for many years, and when I returned, I made a great effort to make really good grades. When I got to grad school, I had a 4.0, perfect, straight A's. And this streak continued for over 2 years until my final year of grad school, when I received a B. How could that possibly happen? How could I have gotten below an A? I was convinced that my work was impeccable, and even argued with the professor that I deserved a higher grade, because he had failed to give me proper instruction. I blamed him for my low grade. Years later, I realized that maybe he did have something to do with this B, but more likely it was all my own fault. Years ago, I fell victim to a very common attribution error. So today, I'll be discussing a bit about attribution theory and the common attribution errors. Attribution theory explains how we assign meaning to what happens around us. It's very common to want to find meaning in everything, even when there might not be any meaning, or the meaning behind something might be very different than our perception of it. The three most common attribution errors are called self-serving bias error, fundamental attribution error, and overattribution. First, the self-serving bias error occurs when something good or bad happens to us. When something good happens, we often take credit for that good thing. I just got a home run in a baseball game. It must be because I'm so very talented. Conversely, we try to blame others for bad things that happen. I'm late for work. It's because my parents wouldn't stop talking to me as I was leaving the house. Self-serving bias blames others for our problems, while taking credit for our successes, ignoring the fact that there are always multiple reasons for both good and bad things. The second attribution error is called fundamental attribution error. This error is our tendency to overemphasize personal character traits over possible external factors. This error occurs much more on the negative side. If a person does something that we don't like, we're quick to blame it on something internal inside them. A friend was supposed to meet us for a drink after work, and they never showed up, so we assume it's because they're rude or inconsiderate, without first considering what other things might have come up. Maybe a family emergency or really bad traffic, and their phone wasn't working, so they couldn't call us. Fundamental attribution error is jumping to a conclusion without first considering the other possible circumstances. The final attribution error is called overattribution. Overattribution is what occurs when a person focuses on one characteristic of another person and attributes all of their behavior to that one characteristic. An example of this might be something I'm quite familiar with. We'll call it white guy syndrome. People stare at me when I dance. He can't dance, they say. Well, he is a white guy. People see me trying to play basketball, and I fail miserably. Well, he is a white guy. I'm eating mayonnaise. Yep, white guy. Now, to be clear, overattribution is different than stereotyping. A stereotype is when we assume something about a person based on a feature of that person. Patrick is white, so he probably can't dance, can't play basketball, likes mayo. Overattribution is observing something that a person does and then attributing those actions to one feature. Somebody sees me dancing, playing basketball, eating mayonnaise out of the jar, and they naturally assume that it's all because I'm white. So, to recap, there are three kinds of attribution errors: self-serving bias, fundamental attribution error, and overattribution. We do these all the time, probably on a daily basis. Being aware of these issues, we can hopefully do them a little less. These errors are oversimplifications that can lead to a lot of misperceptions. Oh, and remember my story from the beginning about the professor who gave me the B? Yeah, classic self-serving bias, right? I got a bad grade. I blamed the teacher and didn't take any credit for myself. That's not cool. Maybe he did have something to do with it, but I definitely had a lot to do with it. And that's it for this video. Go on to the next one. Bye.